Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm super excited to take you along as I create a double page scrapbook layout featuring a fun memory from September 2018. So to start, when picking my background paper, I wanted something that felt wintry but still warm to match that summer snow day vibe I'm going for. That led me to the Snowy Scenes DSP from Snapping Up. I've already cut into this collection for a Christmas layout, but I haven't used much of it yet. Just a heads up, this paper is marked in the last chance items, but it is still available. So now let's talk about my photos. I have 5 pictures here from that day. One of them shows my family in the pool with snow all around. It was definitely a surreal moment. You can even spot the snow-covered trees in the background. I will be creating some embellishments using stamps and masks later on, but for now, let's focus on the papers. I'm going to use this really cute snowman paper and the Petal pink plaid on the back side. I think the pink will complement our skin tones very nicely, and I'm also going to use the green snowflake pattern to add more of a wintry feel. So I'm going to clear away all the other papers and bring in my basic white cardstock as my base layer. Now for photo placement. I have 5 pictures in total. 3 of them are 3 3/4 by 5 1/4 inch, printed in landscape orientation. That does include the white border. These pictures were taken during an unexpected snowball fight in the pool. Yep, you heard that right. Snowball fight in the pool. So I want to keep the 3 together, and I'm thinking I'm going to run them down the right-hand side of the left side of the layout. And then I'll place the snowflake paper next to them and use the lighter side of the Petal pink two-tone cardstock to mat my photos on. That's how I'm imagining it right now. So on the right side, I'll use the snowman paper across the top, then layer the pink plaid paper underneath to hold my other 2 smaller photos, which are 3.5 by 2 3/4. And they do not have a white border. I'm also going to trim a piece of plaid paper to balance things out and place it beside the snowflake pattern paper on the left. This will help create a nice flow across the layout. So now all my papers are trimmed to size. I've repeated the patterns on both sides of the page. The snowman paper is an exception though. I used a circle die cut to cut a circle featuring the snowman, and I'll place it here covering part of the 2 bottom photos on the left. For the snowflake paper, I trimmed it to 4.5 by 12 and 1 by 12 inches for the right side. The snowman paper measures 3 by 12 and the plaid paper for the right side is 4 by 12 with a 1 by 12 piece for the left. I also have a 6 by 12 piece of the Petal pink cardstock. Now, before I get too far into this design, I wanted to add some inking to the edges of everything. I initially tried garden green because there's lots of green in the photos and paper, but it just blended too much. I wanted something that would help the papers pop. So I'm going to go with black ink instead. It really makes everything stand out. And I'm even going to ink the edges of the 2 smaller photos to help them stand out against the white cardstock I matted them on. Look at the difference that makes and gives a lot more definition between the picture with all the snow and the white cardstock. So I've distressed all the edges and attached my papers to the white cardstock. With the exception of all my photos and the white cardstock, I have my smaller photos matted on. Now I'm moving on to the title. For this, I'm using a stamp set called Snow Day. I really love this set. It's not just for winter themed layouts either. I can see myself using this set all year round. So because this is a winter yet summer themed layout, I wanted to combine both summer and winter elements. I was going through my stash and came across this sticker sheet from Echo Park, and I felt like the colors really complemented the pattern papers that I'm using. For my title, I'm going with Summer Snow Day. To get the letters in the right place, I'm going to stick them onto a clear ruler first. Normally, I would remove the sticky from my stickers that I'm going to use, but I actually like using the ruler technique, and it helps me make sure everything is lined up just the way I want it to, and I like the option of moving it around the page quickly and easily. I could stamp the word Snow Day right under the summer part of the title, but I want to repeat the circle element I've started. The pool in the photo is round, and I've got this circle I cut for the snowman paper. So I'm going to cut another circle from Petal pink cardstock using the lighter side, and I'll tuck it under the snowflake paper like this. And thank goodness for my Cricut spatula, it sure does come in handy. The Snow Day stamp is a little long to go straight across my circle. So I think I'll stamp day under the snow to fill in the circle a little bit more. I'm using Pool Party ink for this because it's such a soft, pretty color, and I think it will go perfectly with this layout. To keep my stamping straight, I'm going to grab my ruler again, making just a few lines with pencil. And I'm going to make sure that I'm super light with my pencil so that I can easily erase it afterwards. It's always a good idea to add a foam mat under your paper to get a nice even stamping surface. So I'm going to do a test stamp on some scrap paper before committing to my layout. And yep, that looks great. Now I'll hold it in place for a couple of seconds to make sure the ink transfers properly. Yep, I really like how that turned out. Now I'll just repeat the same process for the word day. I'm happy with my title, and now it's time to move on to the fun part, embellishing. I'm going to use the Frozen Edges dies and maybe some of the stamps. But first, I would like to start creating some trees using the Frosted Forest set. I got the bundle, so it not only came with stamps and coordinating dies, but it also came with masks. And if you're new to masks, that's what Stampin' Up! Calls stencils. So I love how easy they are to use. So each mask has a small notch cut out of the side of it to help everything line up and to help you get all your layers in the right place. I'm going to start with mask A. I like to make a little mark on my paper to help me line up where the other masks go later. So I know that everything is staying in place. This is the largest part of the tree, and I'm going to use garden green for this layer. It is one of the coordinating colors with this collection. So with a gentle hand and a circular motion, I'm going to cover the entire area with ink. Let's lift it up. And, oh, I love it. It looks so good. Now for the next layer, I'm going to grab mask B. I'll line it up with my little mark. And for this layer, I'm using Mossy Meadow. This is not listed as a coordinating color, but this is the shadow or the underside of the branches. So I thought a darker color would work really well for that. Once the second layer is on, it's time to stamp. Stamping is a super important step because it adds all the texture to the tree branches. This is what gives it that realistic look. So I'm going to use garden green again for this part. I'll line it up, hold it in place for a few seconds, and voila. Isn't that so cool? Now, if I was creating trees for a hiking theme layout or nature pictures, I'd leave them just like that. Since the trees in my photos are snow covered, I'm going to make them look extra frosty. So this is where the last mask comes in. That's hard to say. I'll line it up. I'm going to use white pigment ink this time. And just a heads up, white pigment ink is a little sticky. It's kind of rich and opaque. It does take longer to dry, so I'll keep that in mind while I'm applying this layer. And I really want the ink to be thick to add more dimension. So I'll add a few more layers to give the trees that snowy look. But look at that. It looks so great. I'll go off camera and build a few more trees using the smaller masks as well as this size. And then I'll use the coordinating die cut to cut them all out. So while I was working on the trees, I was looking at my layout and I wasn't really happy with the petal pink circle that my title is stamped on. I think pool party cardstock will look better. And yes, I like that. So I'm going to use my spatula one more time, carefully release the adhesive from the stickers and the cardstock, making sure not to move the stickers from their spots. And then with the magic of editing, I've stamped the rest of my title on the teal circle with black ink. I'll quickly attach this with my Stampin' seal. I still want to carry that petal pink color across to this side of the layout. So I cut another circle and I'm going to place it up here. And then that will create a spot for my embellishment cluster. Now let me show you the beautiful snow-covered trees I created. This stamp is so cool. I also stamped and cut out a few non-snowy trees to give myself a little bit more options in my clusters. I love all the extra dies in this set. So I'm going to place a few trees up here on that circle I had placed and in the open space next to my photos on the white mat. So originally I was going to use this for my journaling, but I really liked how the trees filled in that space more, so I can add my journaling somewhere else. I'm going to create 3 clusters, 2 on the right and 1 on the left to create a visual triangle. Another observation I had made while working on my tree embellishments is that the snowflake paper felt a little bit too busy. So I just want to switch the 2 patterns around and break up the pink by placing the snowflake paper in the middle, and I'm going to trim it down to 2 by 12 inches and see what looks best. I think this is the most I've ever used my spatula for this purpose in a long time. I'm sure you're all thinking it was fine the way it was, but I just think that this will look better. Yeah, I like that 2-inch strip way better. So let me just attach them back to the base of the layout and we can move on to something else. To make the snowman circle stand out a bit more, I'm going to back it on a white circle that I cut 1 size bigger. Then I'll place the rest of the trees behind it. It's not quite perfect yet, but I'm going to leave it like this for now and move on to something else. Looking at the pool water, it's such a vibrant blue. And the M in the stickers on my summer for the title is a really deep blue like the water. Although the petal pink complements our skin tones well, but I want to bring more attention to the pool. Let's see how the photos look matted on a blueberry bushel cardstock. It's not a coordinating color for this collection, but I think it'll work well here because of the blue in the stickers. Oh yeah, I like that. It really draws the eye to the pool, and I like repeating colors from one side of the layout to the other, so I cut a mat for this picture over here as well. Like I said before, I was going to add my journaling here, but there's plenty of other spots for journaling on this layout, like down here beside the title or over here in this white space on the left. Especially if you had a lot to say, this would work great. Speaking of this area, I still need to address this cluster. It feels like it's just floating. So I'm going to stick with my circle theme and cut out another circle from Pool Party cardstock. This way I'm repeating the color from one side to the other, and I have a place for my trees to sit on. Or maybe not. The struggle is real. But by having the 2 circles touch, one by the photos and one with the other, nothing feels like it's floating anymore. My tree clusters need something else with them. So I turned to the stamp bundle that pairs with this suite. It's called Snowy Wonder. It's also listed in the last chance section of my store if you're interested. So the die cuts out elements on the paper like this snowman. It wouldn't be hard to cut out this image by hand, except maybe the arms. But I don't want to do that. I'd rather die cut it. So the die works for any of the snowman without a hat on. I cut out 2 and will add them to my clusters. I already have a snowman here on the left in the circle, so I didn't feel I needed to add another one there. Next, I want to add some of my summery embellishments. Looking at the sticker sheet, there are a few items I could use. I'm going to grab my anti-static pouch to remove the sticky from the stickers. That way I can move them around the page easily. This one reads, "Let's have a pool party." I think that worked. So I'll place it here up at the top of my layout for now. I also like the pool sticker and a few of the beach balls. Oh, and this one here, it reads, "Keeping cool by the pool." Haha, yes, we're definitely doing that. Not interested in using the flamingo, but I can just cut that part off. I like the idea of placing the pool sticker over here in the corner of the picture. Then I can tuck the "Keeping Cool by the Pool" sticker underneath the picture beside it. This side of the layout is starting to feel a little word heavy, so I'll move the pool party sticker with the trees over on this side. I like that. It really grounds those trees. I'm thinking I'm going to place these beach balls beside the snowman. I think it'll look so cute with the snowman carrying a beach ball. That continues with my summer-winter theme. Since I'm handwriting my journaling right on the layout, I'm going to draw some lines with pencil to keep my writing straight. I'm not sure how much space I'm going to need, so I'll just fill in the whole area with lines. I'm going to spend some time off camera to attach the rest of my embellishments and print out my journaling. So this layout is missing some snow. Turning back to the Snowy Wonder stamp set, I'm going to use this stamp. It's snow, or maybe snowballs, as well as some snowflakes I cut using the Frosty Edges dies. I used Blueberry Bushel, Pool Party, and a shimmery white cardstock from my stash. I'm going to scatter the die cut snowflakes around the layout and stamp more snow using Pool Party ink in all of the white areas. I'll rotate my stamp as I go. I'll also stamp off the layout on a scrap piece of paper to make it look a little bit more random. And you know what? I just realized I haven't really talked about my pictures yet. These were taken on September 12th, 2018. Back when the boys were younger, we would always turn up the heat on the pool for the last few weeks of summer so we could enjoy it a few more times before we had to winterize it. This year was no exception, except for the fact that it snowed. We do tend to get early snowfall during the autumn months, but this year was still warm and summery, and we were definitely not ready for it. Luckily, the snow didn't last. I actually have more pictures of us in the pool 2 days later, and there's no snow in sight. But snow or no snow, the boys and my husband were definitely going in the pool. I tried to join them. I did. You can see my flip-flops. They're beside the pool. But if you're familiar with the weather here in Alberta, it has to get pretty cold for it to snow. I was just about to get into the pool when the snowball fight broke out. So to be honest, I'm not even sure if I actually got into the pool or not. Pretty sure I ditched the flip-flops and ran for the house instead. But anyway, it sure is making some great memories to document nonetheless. I want to cover the snowman's hat here because it has a holly and berries on it. Since this is not a Christmas layout, I'd rather not have it there. Maybe no one else will notice, but I will. I'm going to place one of the snowflakes I cut out on that part of the hat to cover it up, and then no one will know. That's the only part of this pattern paper that gives off a Christmas vibe. So other than avoiding repeating colors next to each other, I'm not putting too much thought into the placement of my snowflakes. Some of them I've popped up on foam tape, and for the rest I've used Barely Art glue to attach them. Then I remembered I have these loose white snowflakes I got with the purchase of this suite. and come in 3 different sizes. I'm going to scatter them around in my 3 embellishment clusters, around my title, and then anywhere that I've used the paper snowflakes. Unfortunately, this item is no longer available. Just a few more embellishments to pull everything together. I love adding these tiny details because they give the layout personality and really make it feel complete. For one last added detail, I've got some enamel dots that I've had in my stash for years and I'd like to use them up. I'm going to use teal, pink, and green dots and add them in 3s around my clusters. And I think that's it. I'm calling it done. And here's the finished layout. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think it perfectly captures the fun, spontaneous moment when we turned a snowy day into something memorable. I love how scrapbooking helps me relive these moments and preserve them for years to come. I also wanted to mention the celebration is happening right now, and it runs until the end of February. This is the biggest sale of the year for Stampin' Up. So how does this work? Well, if you're in Canada, for every $75 purchase or $150 purchase you spend on any Stampin' Up product, you qualify for a free item from the celebration brochure. And as you can see, there are some pretty amazing items to choose from. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you found some inspiration for your own layouts. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more scrapbooking ideas. For a closer look at my layouts, be sure to check out my Instagram page. You can also watch my first process video using this collection right here. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.